Hello guys, Michael here with another video. Today I want to talk about all those excuses men have when they are talking to attractive women. I've been listening to so many tapes or recordings when men approach women and then trying to have a meaningful conversation. I also have been listening to a lot of date conversations, and what I'm hearing over and over again is that they always come up with some kind of an excuse to ask about things. So for example, from a direct approach, for example, many guys, listen to what she says and they're trying to, make sort of a meaningful conversation. And then before they exit, before they're going to leave, they want to ask for contact details. And instead of being upfront by saying, you know what, I find you really interesting and I would love to meet you again for coffee. Instead of being upfront, too many guys are using an excuse like, oh, by the way, since you are good at French, I really want to learn a little bit more about some specific phrases to use when I'm going to Paris for vacation. Could you help me with that? Maybe we can meet for coffee and then you can teach me some specific stuff I can use practically in my vacation to Paris. I mean, what's that? That is an excuse because they cannot be upfront by saying, you know what, I find you really attractive, or I find you really interesting. It could be, I find you really interesting and attractive, and I would love to see you again next time when I have more time. That is something that guys have a hard time to do. It's almost like its own anxiety, like approach anxiety, but this is more like a pull the trigger anxiety. And it really ruins a lot of guys' real chances with women because they cannot really express their real intent. And you have to learn to just pull the trigger and say as it is, and also look her in the eye without, you cannot hide. You can look her in the eye and say as it is. You know what? I find you really interesting and attractive. I would love to meet you again. Up front. That is what's going to make her get the impression of you being straightforward and confident. If you try to sneak around and try to ask her out based on the wrong reasons, that would come across as weird, actually. It will come across as insecure. And women many times take you for granted. Like if you say that you want to meet her again just because you want to learn more about a specific part in the French language or whatever, she will take your word for it. And that makes you have to work harder in order to actually get into the real reason of why you're dating her. So try to lose of all the excuses and learn to be upfront with things. Another guy that had a dating situation where they actually met from a cold approach, and then later on they went to a dating. They had a coffee together, and then they would sit down and they were just talking. And he couldn't be upfront with what he felt towards her. And if he don't tell her what he feels about her, there will never be this real reciprocity effect. Because we want to create this reciprocity effect where the other person feel like, oh, he likes me. And if she feels like he likes me for the right reasons, immediately a kick in the brain will happen that want to give that back. So it becomes like, you know what? When I really think about it, I like him too. We want that reciprocity in attraction process to happen. And therefore you need to be upfront with things like, you know what? I find you really attractive. I like you. I think you're funny. I mean, you're attractive. I really enjoy being here. And you have to be able to own that statement, own that feeling. Obviously, sometimes people can overdo it and then it's not good either. But as long as you're using context to give compliments and to give, a statement of how you feel about her is very strong if you're taking the context as a foundation. So for example, if you think that it was hilarious when she wanted to travel everywhere and she's just doing it spontaneously, like closing the eyes and roll the globe and then just put the finger and then, oh, that country is the country I want to go to. Let's say she did something like that. And then you're going to comment about that part and then give a compliment like, wow, it seems to me that you are very adventurous and spontaneous. And she might say, yeah, I am. And then you can reply by saying, you know what? I find that really attractive about you. And I really like that. I like you. If you don't initiate that kind of, reciprocity elements where you're going to give her compliments and in some way you're reveal about how you feel towards her upfront, I mean, it's very hard to create something. So you need to start something. Revealing to someone that you find them attractive, you find them beautiful, you find them, even sexually attractive with the right content, that is when you actually make something happen. It's like building blocks towards relationships. And that is where being flirtatious can be quite good. Because if you're flirtatious based on context, it can be very powerful and effective for her to feel like you are liking her. You see, once you start feeling that you're liking her, she start consider if she's going to like you back. A lot of this happens unconsciously as well, subconsciously. It's not something she's thinking, with a logical sense. It's just like this automatic feeling that she has. And if you have the right type of conversations and all that, she will like you. She will feel amazing when she's around you. And then when you're going to show that you're liking her for the real reasons, it's a big chance that she's going to like you back. And then suddenly you create a very strong foundation to take it further romantically. So you need to be strong. You need to be upfront with things. And you need to be able to execute it verbally and look her in the eye and own it. Yeah? That's the most important thing. Own it. It cannot be like you're saying, you know what, I find you really attractive. What you're doing is quite attractive. Forget about that kind of, I need to say my self-excuse. You're not saving anything. You see, instead you're destroying the moment. If you find her attractive, say it. But remember, you need to have context to say it. You cannot just say it out of the blue. So try to work with context and then say what you feel about her. It is not easy in the beginning. That's why you need to start considering. You always go like you consider it, you're thinking about it, and then the execution comes eventually. But you still have to be aware and think about it before it's going to happen. Otherwise, it will never happen, you see? So just thinking about, I will be more confident by expressing things like my thoughts towards her emotionally. When you start thinking like that, you will actually be able to do it practically and execute it one day. Most guys can do it if they just start acknowledge it first. Many people don't acknowledge that at all. They don't think about that at all. And therefore, it will never happen. It's way too many guys that are sitting on a date and then just hope that she makes the first move or something just come up from nowhere and drive the whole relationship forward. Most of the time it doesn't. Well, it's amazing if women start taking the first step towards that with you being completely neutral. But many times it's actually you that have to push it forward. You see, something as little as, you know what, I feel amazing to be with you today. I just feel like you're such a wonderful person to be with. You're fun. And I just love spending time with you. Something like that. It doesn't have to be like sexually overboard or something. But you need to do something, all right? I really, really emphasize that. Do something. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.